sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Nine. Awesome Nine. I hope you are doing great. Came across this video from George and JD Vance. It was an interview that they had, and George cuts off JD Vance and ends the interview after clash over Herman allegation, and he was asking him if Herman collected bribe or something like that, and JD Vance was beating around the bush. So it was also there that JD Vance, also told us that why is it that he's not asking relevant questions? I mean, that the country is struggling. Now he is trying to tell us that the country is struggling while the president is telling us that the America is great. So I don't understand what is going on. And now, how are these people still very bold enough to tell you that there is government shutdown, that the Democrats are the ones that caused the government shutdown? Sometimes I feel like they think that the people, their followers, are idiots, because it's only an idiot that you can tell that Democrats are the one that caused the shutdown and all that. Because from up till down, politically, you definitely will see that the people that are controlling everything is the Republicans. So how would the Democrats get into it? Of course, Democrats are not the ones that shut down, right? That it is you people. So why that back and forth was going on, George cuts him off, and I love it. I hope other journalists will follow suit, because when they come on live television to lie during an interview and make you also cuss you out and make you feel like you don't know what it's going on, cut it off. Let's get into.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about, George Stephanopoulos. He's standing on business. For y'all that don't know, our border czar was caught with $50,000 he got bribed with. This ain't no rumor. This ain't no we think so. This a we know so. The FBI reported it, but the thing is, the DOJ was like, he ain't did nothing. So they swept that shit under the rug. But everybody know about it. They been talking about all this Congress and shit, you know what I'm saying? But George Stephanopoulos spoke on it. And JD Vance said that bullshit, and George like, I ain't trying to hear that shit. Let's cut the commercial. Y'all don't forget, George a real motherfucking political goddamn journalist. Yeah, he worked on Good Morning America and shit, but George back in the day was serious. I don't even think he wanted to work on goddamn Good Morning America. Goddamn George, bring that shit back. Take your ass back to Washington and goddamn break that shit down for us. But that shit was cool as hell. He cut JD Vance off. Fuck you, JD Vance. You bullshit there. Goddamn George standing on business. That was a good thing to see this morning. Now we need to see about them Epstein files. Release them bitches. I ain't talking about that other shit because I ain't been talking about it. It's out of my pay grade. But yeah, fuck that, man. Goddamn, we need more journalists to stand on business. Because our Trump done got in the goddamn Oval Office is them motherfucking right-wing journalists and them motherfuckers from the internet. Where Walter motherfucking Cronkite? Fuck that. Barbara Walters can handle that. Barbara, go on there and goddamn interview Trump there. Get the motherfucking Epstein file.
All right, so I'm not joking when I say this, but the interaction that JD Vance had with journalist George Stephanopoulos live on ABC News this morning might be one of the most embarrassing moments for this administration so far. He clearly backed himself into a corner, couldn't find a way out, and just started screaming and raging, and eventually the interview just cut out regardless of JD Vance trying to interrupt, trying to get another word in. It's clear he fumbled on the one. So I want to show you this clip and just show you how badly it went for JD Vance. Before I do so, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about the story. Without further ado, let me just give you some context first. This interview was long, but one of the main topics they covered was this groundbreaking story about Tom Homan, Donald Trump's border czar, accepting $50,000 from undercover FBI agents posing as businessmen, and in exchange, Homan promised them government contracts when Trump got into office. It's one of the many examples of corruption in this administration, with the most corrupt president we've ever had in modern American history, and the Trump administration shut down the investigation. They determined there was no wrongdoing from somebody who accepted a bribe. And so, rightly so, J.D. Vance was asked about this story, and clearly the administration hasn't nailed exactly how to respond yet because this was a complete and total disaster for Vance. So let's just watch the interaction. It's around 3 minutes long. Take a look.
The White House border czar Tom Homan was recorded on an FBI surveillance tape in September 2024, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money or give it back?
George, you've covered the story ad nauseum. Tom Homan did not take a bribe. It's a ridiculous smear. And the reason you guys are going after Tom Homan so aggressively is because he's doing the job of enforcing the law. I think it's really preposterous. I know Tom. I think that he's a good man. He gets death threats. He gets attacked. He gets constantly threatened by people because he has the audacity to want to enforce the country's immigration laws. I think that it would be a much more interesting story about why is it that Tom Homan, who is simply enforcing Americans' immigration laws, is getting constantly harassed and threatened to the point of death threats. That's a much more interesting question that I think journalists should focus on. We can agree to disagree on that question.
That's what we call a non-answer, by the way. And by the way, he said he didn't take a bribe, which is J.D. Vance's slimy, disingenuous way of describing the situation, because J.D. Vance would not describe it as a bribe. He would just describe it as an exchange of services. And that's how he's getting away with it. So instead of saying, he says, he didn't take a bribe, he just took an exchange for services. It's such crap.
You said he didn't take a bribe, but I'm not sure you answered the question. Are you saying that he did not accept the $50,000?
George, this story has been covered ad nauseum. He did not take a bribe. Did he accept $50,000? I'm sure that in the course of Tom Homan's life, he has been paid more than $50,000 for services. The question is, did he do something illegal? And there's absolutely no evidence that Tom Homan has ever taken a bribe or done anything illegal,
I'm asking you,
which is why he's working with the administration.
I'm asking you, did he accept the $50,000 that was caught on the surveillance tape? Did he accept that $50,000 or not?
George, I don't know what you're talking about. Did he accept $50,000 for what?
He was recorded on an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money?
George Stephanopoulos cutting off J.D. Vance because he didn't answer the question was elite. And that's what the media needs to start doing. When they don't answer the question, they answered the question. Move along, tell them they didn't answer the question, just don't let them answer it again. They've already answered. They answered with...
Hey guys, it's Leash. Listen, if Sick and Tired was a person, George Stephanopoulos is that person. Please watch this clip.
Than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
Your boy was like, I'm not here for the bullshit today. I am not here for the bullshit. Oh, that was everything. And you know what? This needs to be the standard moving forward. Because even seeing Trump when he's on, different news platforms or he's at different press conferences and these journalists are asking questions and he is just going off the rails, or even, what's her name, Caroline Levitt, her crazy self, just being so evil and cruel to journalists. And it's just they're doing their job. Why aren't you? Why aren't you actually doing something for the American people? Yeah. George, you did that. Yeah. A1 for sure.
J.D. Vance got shut down today, and this is exactly how the media needs to start handling the folks in the Trump administration who decide to go after the person asking the question instead of simply answering the question. Watch.
You're focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No,
Governor
George, I
J.B.
said that I
Pritzker's
don't.
Up next. We'll be right back.
And that was the perfect way to handle that because he did not fall for JD Vance's trolling. Instead, what he did was he repeated the question and he explained to his audience that JD Vance is not answering this, and then he cut him off immediately. Perfect.
I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No,
Governor
George, I
J.B.
said that I
Pritzker's
don't.
Up next. We'll be right back.
So this morning, the vice president of our country was on ABC News with George Stephanopoulos, and who is married to old girl from Dharma and Greg. I always forget that. But he was on there. He asked a question about Tom Homan, the $50,000 that he was offered in the bribe, the situation that no one will answer outside of saying that there was not sufficient evidence to charge him with a crime. And JD Vance, I think they have it's not a think, because there was a zoom in on the paperwork that Pam Bondi had at her hearing with Congress, where it showed a pre-written list of reads and comebacks for anything that people said. And then when she ran out of her quips, she was silent. As an attorney, as someone who's supposed to be quick on their feet, I'm sad that you needed a cheat sheet, but I digress. I believe JD Vance also has a JD. I know I think so, possibly. That being said, JD Vance's response, you're putting forward this terrible statement, and this is why no one watches your show. This is why your ratings are terrible. This is why you're losing your show. And George Stephanopoulos lets him say his things. And then George comes back and says, I just want to say, essentially, I asked you about this situation that was recorded by the FBI. And did he keep the money? Because no one will tell us if he kept the money. They'll tell us he wasn't charged. They won't say if he kept the $50,000, right? And George Stephanopoulos let him finish speaking and then reiterated, I asked you a simple question, and then JD Vance tried to come back in and interject foolishness, and George cut him off, sent it to commercial. Now, on like a nuclear level, this is beautiful, because the real thing is, yes, they're gonna own pieces of TikTok. Yes, they're gonna have these platforms, but these people have been involved in these platforms. I don't know why we acting like that's not new. We just are seeing some clear evidence of it. But two, they do need mainstream spaces because they want to reach, if people who were already on their side were entrenched and that's all they had, they would not continue to accomplish these things that they are doing, right? They have to be able to spread false information to the masses, because more people are moderate than you think. More people are moderate than you think, right? And so there's just basic beauty in like cutting him off. But our president's grift, these companies giving him $20, $30, $40 million to build the ballroom. I mean, they're dropping millions of dollars and they're not taking him to court. They're just settling and just ending it. Started with ABC and George Stephanopoulos. It started with ABC. And so that's been the fuel that our president has utilized to continue to weaponize his position as the highest power in the land to bully these networks and these entertainment entities to do his bidding, and then weaponizing the FCC to do so as well. Because if these business deals can't go through, these people can't maintain their position of power through capitalism, of course. But that's just the cherry on top, is that George, who has been an incredible journalist for decades, for y'all to play on his top, and then more so for you, why would you come back to a platform for a man that you said is a chronic liar and has terrible ratings? Why are you here? Why take your ass over to Fox News? I am pretty sure that they did not campaign to have you come up there and have a conversation, JD Vance. I am pretty sure that your team reached out. Go on over there. Have Brian Kilmeade have the conversation. But that was really juicy to witness, and George did it in such a classy way. And that is what journalists do. Not podcasters, not girls who went to YouTube University, journalists. Okay.
Focused on a bogus story, you're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
Do you see the way he cut him off? George Stephanopoulos just cut J.D. Vance off at the knees. And that's what we need more of. We need to stop platforming these people. People like this Jubilee concept and having these politicians come on and spending all this time asking them questions that they will not answer. And then most media members, most journalists move on to the next. They just move on to the next. No, hold their feet to the fire. If you have to use your entire segment to try to get one answer, then it shows the ridiculousness of the fact that they can't provide one solid answer. George Stephanopoulos completely castrated J.D. Vance by cutting him off, emasculated that man by cutting him off and not allowing him to get another sentence in because it doesn't do any good. People like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump just ramble on, roll on to the next thing, and they get a pass every single time because the media doesn't want to get bogged down on one question. They want to keep rolling. It is unacceptable. And it is bad journalism. And we need more people like this who are just going to end the conversation point blank. And
do you guys want to see George Stephanopoulos tell J.D. Vance to shut the fuck up? But he does it the professional way, the way a real journalist would do it. I did stitch it, but go up in the search bar and look up George Stephanopoulos, J.D. Vance interview on Meet the Press. It's hilarious. I don't think it's Meet the Press. It's the Sunday morning show, whatever it is on ABC. But go watch it. Finally, this is how you do it. You do it. It was perfect. Chef's kiss. He was like, J.D. Vance, shut the fuck up. He didn't say that, but you watch it, you see how they do it. It's perfect.
George Stephanopoulos is my new hero, and that's how you handle an interview. You stop the lie mid-sentence, even if you have to. But I'm tired of reporters just sitting there listening to a lie and not refuting it in real time. You need to fact check it in real time, and you need to refute it in real time, not follow up later. You don't let lies lay on the table. And that man, J.D. Vance, is a liar. He's a bold-faced, just everything that comes out of his mouth is complete and utter bullshit. And he knows it. He's even admitted that he will bend the truth to get his way. And that's not presidential at all. This man should not be even near the White House. And he's certainly him and his eyeliner. It's, ugh. Talk about hypocrisy. Anyway, George, keep doing that. And other reporters, follow suit. It's now time to really get at the truth. Because everyone's lying. Everybody's lies now. It's a whole culture of...
Saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program.
I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
The ABC host pulled J.D. Vance mid-sentence. J.D. got cooked here. He was dancing around questions and dodging what the American people actually want answers to. Kudos to that host. It's about time The media grows a backbone and hold this administration accountable. JD Vance ended up looking like a straight dumbass.
And that is exactly how you shut it down. Stephanopoulos pressed J.D. Vance about reports surrounding Tom Homan, a former border czar who was allegedly caught on FBI video surveillance, accepting $50,000 in cash. The question was simple, but did he keep the money or return it? But instead of answering, Vance dodged, deflected, and tried to spin it into a partisan attack. Pressed, Vance called it a left-wing rabbit hole. But Stephanopoulos didn't back down, kept the question focused, and refused to let the conversation get hijacked. Finally, after multiple evasions, George ended the segment with that now viral line, "You did not answer the question," and that right there is what accountability looks like. Calm, direct, no yelling, just naming the dodging and moving on. Now, why didn't J.D. Vance just answer the question? Politically, it's because it's a lose-lose situation. If he says yes, he confirms corruption inside his own administration. If he says no, and evidence later proves otherwise, he's tied to a cover-up. So what does he do? He hides behind vague language, hoping to survive the moment without leaving a soundbite that could hurt him later. But evasion is a soundbite. And when you're in office, silence can say more than any answer. This moment isn't about whether or not you like George Stephanopoulos or J.D. Vance. It's about whether the truth still matters while cameras are rolling. When politicians dodge, they're not outsmarting the press. They're disrespecting the people watching at home because voters deserve clarity, not calculated silence. And when journalists stand their ground, when they refuse to let an evasive answer pass as truth, that's not bias. That's doing.
I'll tell you one thing. It's nothing like watching someone like J.D. Vance get called out on his BS. When I say straight owned, he got owned. Check this clip out.
Criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that.
J.D. Vance gets shut down during an interview with George. And this is what media needs to do when it comes to these Republicans, because if you're going to lie in an interview or just lie, period, there's no point. Y'all, look at this.
Tape in September 2024, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money or give it back?
George, I don't know what you're talking about. Did he accept $50,000 for what?
He was recorded on an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money?
Accepting $50,000 for doing what, George? I'm not even sure I understand the question. Is it a crime? Even the far left media like yourself? So I'm actually not sure what the precise question is.
Caught on the tape, you're saying right now you don't know whether or not he kept that money.
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that.
An audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time.
No, George, I said that I did that.
Baby, and that's how you do it, okay?
This is all I got from this video, and you and I can actually see that JD Vance was out there trying to do his thing, but was completely caught. I love to see things like this, when they think that they can spread BS, or they can, like, he wanted to take over like the boss that he is and speak like people do. The truth is that some of them do not think that people know what they are doing. I don't know why they always have that mindset. They feel like people do not know them. People do not see the things they are doing. Right? So for that reason, they come out and want to gaslight you straight up. That man did him dirty. He doesn't know that yet. He asked you a question. He started beating around the bush to know. Started beating around because he wanted to, he was already lying. It's not like he wanted to lie. He was already lying. He knew that. refused to answer the question, and now telling that he will continue to be on the screen. The man did a great job by letting him go. Trump and MAGA said that this country is great. JD Vance said that we are struggling. Why is the Republican on vacation? So, but all of them are just contradicting. The president said it's great, and also they are making it great, and he is out there telling me that the country is struggling when they have never refused to accept that the country is struggling. Now he wants to tell him that the country is struggling, that he should talk about the country that is struggling instead of him asking him that question. But then answer the question before we know if the country is struggling or not, because you guys refuse to accept that the country is struggling. That is the kind of lie you get to hear from all these people. They shut down the government. You and I know that they shut down the government, and they are blaming it on the Democrats. Like, how are the Democrats the ones that shut the government when the government is being run by who? Check from the president's seat down who is running the country. And I am also going to ask, why is it that the government do not see that there is need for some certain things to continue, especially the Medicaid? You know, it's like they want to ruin everybody's life. You are not, I mean, like, for example, you are not rich. As a middle, even I don't even know if there is anything like middle class anymore, because I feel like it's just the rich and the poor at this point in time, because the middle class is not middling. What you earn before as a middle class is like how many thousand US dollars, like per annum, right? And people will say, "Oh, you are living great," or you cannot also tell that you are living great. But somebody with how many figure, that earns how many figure annually is still struggling. And they want to tell me that they want to make America great. And the other one said he's struggling. That man, George, really did a right decision, in this for me. He did a very great job by letting him go. And I am hoping that the rest of the journalists, the rest of the reporters, that they will follow suit. Like when they bring them up to talk and they start talking nonsense, send him out. Some people will some magas will still tell you that he is right. Right in what? What was he saying? What is he saying? I don't care, but JD Vance clearly said that his stress statement was false. Why not explain? Because he was trying a lie. Man, I am going to draw the cut in here. And for those that said make America great, how great it is at this point in time, because you are also struggling like I am struggling, and the rest of it, my family are also, everybody is on the struggling mode. Everyone is on that struggling loop because it's hard at this point. I will draw the cut in here. Bye for now.